Before American Idol or Top 100 Radio, music in its purest form was enjoyed through recordings and live concert dates. Undoubtedly, Ignace Paderewski was one who possessed idol material to teach and inspire others. Perhaps it was his youthful endeavors at the piano and his stage presence that made him a beloved and affable performer and social figure in Poland. There's an often told story about Paderewski which illustrates the depth of his character. Consider this story. The black Steinway loomed largely from the stage as the bright spotlights bounced from its lacquered finish. The concert hall was abuzz with the expectancy of a grand performance by the sensational Paderewski. Few people noticed the little boy who fidgeted next to his mom for over 10 minutes. He seemed not to grasp the magnitude of the evening. His attendance was an incentive by his mom to get him to practice his piano lessons. Attracted by the raising of the lamps to the ceiling, the room grew darker and silent. Mom settled into her seat. As the orchestra was warming up, the audience noticed a tiny figure faintly upon the stage, pecking out at the Steinway with a familiar tune. This tiny tune seemed to resound loudly throughout the concert hall, and the mother, hearing the tiny tune, looked up on the stage and, embarrassed, sat in her seat. The mother, horrified, rushed to the stage, ready to grab her son, when in a moment she noticed that Paderewski, the master himself, was standing behind her son. The little boy was so intent on practicing his tune that he hadn't noticed that the Grand Master himself had reached behind him and whispered in his ears and said, "Don't quit, keep playing." Lovingly, Paderewski softly improvised an obligato. Together, the old master and the novice shared a common love for music. We as teachers, as we find a strategy that we think will work for other teachers, like to pass it on. One strategy that I found that works well in a classroom is the traditional rules-based summary, which Marzano supports, that it actually helps students to retain information better. When we think of summarizations, we often think about summaries that come at the conclusion of a lesson. However, a summary can come any time during a lesson, especially when a teacher is trying to model how to summarize a particular chunk of reading, paragraph by paragraph by paragraph. So, in order to get students to become familiar with that, a teacher must model. When we turn summarization activity over to the student, you can see real benefits. The shift is now into the active mode for learning. So students learn to put information in their own words, they talk or they write about it, explaining or applying, and 70 to 90% retention rate can be actualized. When a student learns to summarize in his own words, the feature is critical because the learner must sift, reorder, and organize information to make meaning. So let's apply the steps. First, select the story you would like to do, a model paragraph. The steps are simple. There are 4 of them. First, draw a line through anything that seems trivial or frivolous, such as adjectives or similar examples. The second step is to draw a line through anything that is redundant or repetitive. The third step, replace specific terms with general terms. For example, flies, honeybees, mosquitoes, they all could be considered flying insects. And lastly, determine a good topic sentence for the material. Just remember that every topic sentence has 2 parts, the subject and the author's claim about it. For this technique to work well, practice is essential, just like Paderewski and the young boy in the piano. By the way, I wonder how that young boy is making out today.